Welcome to Did You Know the Heart of It, a short podcast from Gloria Deo Academy. In each episode, we unpack the heart behind our school's practices and philosophies so we can grow together in our shared mission to raise lifelong worshipers, lifelong learners, and lifelong servants. Whether you're driving, folding laundry, or catching a quiet moment, we're glad you're here. In this episode, we're discussing the heart behind projects in grammar school with Mrs. Lena Barnhart. Hi, Miss Barnhart. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Robin. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's start off with why are projects even an important part of the learning experience for grammar students at Gloria Deo?
Projects help to reinforce knowledge through active engagement, which aligns with how young children naturally learn best.
Okay.
They allow the students to extend the learning through their own research and creativity. Projects give them a concrete way to apply and visualize what they have learned or memorized in class.
So they do a lot of learning in class. We do lots of memory work, especially in the grammar stage. Mm-hmm. And this is more of like you mentioned, a research and creativity outlet.
Yeah, it's a reinforcement. It's a way to expand on what they already know, and it lets them kind of take it in directions that they might not have thought of.
How can projects help cultivate habits of the heart, things such as diligence, wonder, and worship in our students?
Well, we teach students that there is beauty, wonder, and joy in the creation that God has given to us.
Right.
Projects spark a curiosity and a wonder by helping students delight in the subject matter. Many projects naturally create opportunities to practice virtues, not just to learn about them. Students develop habits of diligence and responsibility when completing a project, when they stick to the task that's assigned and follow the directions and meet the deadlines. This develops discipline, perseverance, and responsibility, which are core virtues in classical education.
I like that you also mentioned the discipline to stick with the instructions for following a project over a longer period of time, something that's not just a home day assignment, but several weeks, and then the perseverance and responsibility to see it through, especially when we get into upper grammar years and they're working on presentations and those sorts of projects.
Yeah, and I like the fact that we all tend to give them a rubric, which allows them to know that no matter how big or small it gets, they can hit their points and know that they're still getting it.
And all projects at GDA, we also, when we assign a project, it does have a rubric. Yes, that's very helpful for the parents too, so they can have their creativity outlet with the content, the subject, however, and also kind of know where to aim and what to shoot for.
Yes.
I like how you talked about how projects can spark curiosity and wonder for our students to delight in the subject matter. That reminds me of when they're learning about Noah's Ark, and this is a story that's familiar to them. Mm-hmm. And, we've heard it in Sunday school as they're growing up, and now they're in first grade. But when they actually get to build their own Noah's Ark, it becomes a lot of fun, and they really delight in that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And finding out how many actual animals were on the boat.
Yes.
As opposed to just going 2 by 2. There's a lot of things that they learn about that God closed the door. The things like there was only one door, just like there's only one way. So there's a lot more that they dig into.
That's right.
Talk about it.
I had one of my students, he said, no, the door has to close by itself. And I had to insist that I'm not sure how we're going to make that happen on a cardboard ark, buddy. But he was so into it and just was delighting in it.
Yes.
It was a lot of fun for me to see as a parent.
Right.
In what ways can parents support their children on home days when preparing for or working on a project?
Well, in a collaborative setting, partnering with parents is important. We prioritize families and family-style learning and partnering with parents so that home projects are a perfect opportunity to meet this goal. They allow for co-teachers to step in and join us in the teaching process. When completing a project in the grammar grades, the parent has the chance to research along and with their child and learn the fascinating things just as we do in class. They share in the beauty and wonder of God's creation. Being able to focus on what their student finds captivating and then take a deep dive into the richness of that content, whether biblical, historical, the arts, or more, puts the focus on family learning.
Okay, and what are we wanting students to develop as they're working to complete these projects?
We want students to develop habits of diligence, responsibility, and a love of learning, and projects are a wonderful way to do this since they allow students to actively engage and take ownership of their work. While it can be tempting to step in and help too much, it's actually most beneficial for the student to do the majority of the work themselves. This can include coming up with ideas, building and designing it, even if it's a bit messy or imperfect. The role of the parent is to brainstorm the ideas and help gather materials, and then step back and offer encouragement and guidance while the student does the heavy lifting.
As you mentioned this idea of a parent possibly helping too much, and it's actually more beneficial for students to do the majority of the work themselves. What advice would you give a parent who kind of has a hard time finding that line of like, okay, well, how much is too much? What would you say to a mom that is worried about maybe she's doing too much?
Well, what matters most is the learning and the thinking, the character that's built through the perseverance. And when the student sees the project is truly their own, it builds confidence and a sense of achievement.
So it kind of needs to be the ownership. The student themselves has that ownership of the project. And if the student has lost that, maybe mom and dad did too much.
Yeah, and I can see it in the kids when they're doing their presentation.
Oh,
okay.
So our teachers can kind of know.
Oh yeah, we can.
Okay.
the excitement they get in telling you what they did and how
That's that wonder and delight you mean.
Exactly. They're much more able to articulate what they did when their hands were the ones that were on the project the most.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell if mom and dad did a little more of the thinking for them, they have to struggle with what they need to say about the project itself.
When they're really, it's not meant to be a rehearsed presentation, especially in the lower grade.
Exactly.
It's just them talking
to
their classmates about what they created and what they learned.
And they're going to be able to do that a lot more if they actually were the ones that were able to do
taking the lead on that.
Yes.
Like you said, they kind of generating ideas and designing it, planning it, whatever it may be. Because they're not all, we do have some research projects and some things that we build out. You also described a little bit in the beginning, parents learning alongside their kids, getting to dive in. I came across a favorite project that's done in 4th grade, and it's these Revolutionary War battle cards. I've never been a fan of history. I was a math teacher, so math is more my area. But my first oldest child that went through it, we enjoyed going through. We got to pick 6 battles from the Revolutionary War and make what was like kind of like baseball cards. And it was so interesting. We ended up we found a book at the library. We loved it so much. We wanted to have it for home. And so we bought it online and we enjoy that project. My next child went through 4th grade and getting to come alongside them and relearn in my own education was a delight for me as well.
Right.
I really liked it.
It does have.
And it's these projects that kind of give us that extra. It's not the day in and day out SWR cards
right.
or Saxon math meetings. We're getting to actually come alongside our kids and be creative and delight in something and actually have fun with the content.
And see the wonder in their eyes. Yeah.
Yes. Kind of spark that love of learning. So I know that my family really enjoyed that 4th grade Revolutionary War battle cards. Can you share another example of a project that was maybe meaningful for a student or a family or teacher?
Sure. When I was explaining to the class last year that they could use any material they want when creating the ark from the story of Noah, the students came up with a ton of ideas.
Oh, we talked about that ark project earlier.
Yes, exactly. I told them they could even build the ark out of something that you can eat. I remember
something they can eat?
Yes. Whatever they wanted to use, they could use any materials they wanted, even something that they could eat. I remember the look on one particular student's face when she realized that I was serious, and the excitement's in her eyes when she said, "I'm bringing an ark that we can eat." Sure enough, we all sat together and ate cake that she shaped like Noah's Ark after the students finished their presentations.
Wow. She made it out of cake.
She did.
Oh, how fun.
She did.
And she was super excited.
And that's the thing, Mom had to help a lot with that because, they're baking the cake.
They're 6-year-old.
Yes. Exactly. But she was very involved in shaping it and trimming it off and putting the icing.
Making it look the way she envisioned.
Exactly.
Yes. And then I know in 6th grade, there is a project that can only be completed via food. It is a food-created project, and that's a lot of fun, too. We got to go and visit that in the Lion's Den this past spring, and it is so neat to see what our 6th graders can create out of cake and all sorts of edible items. Well, my last question is, how do projects align with our school's mission to educate students for eternity and cultivate wisdom and virtue?
Well, projects are more than just an academic assignment. Wisdom isn't just knowing what, but understanding why and how. When students apply facts through projects, they begin to see things like patterns, relationships, and cause and effect, which helps them move from information to insight. Projects are often rich in moral lessons, and this nurtures a mind inclined to seek what is true, good, and beautiful, which is the heart of wisdom.
I love what you mentioned there to help our students move from just information to insight through this formative experience of building out their own projects and taking learning to this creative place.
Yes.
Ultimately leading us to the heart of wisdom and enjoying what's true, good, and beautiful. Thank you so much for being on here and talking with us today about the heart behind projects at our school. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We know that finding a school that partners in discipling your child without compromising your family's values can feel overwhelming. Gloria Deo Academy offers a collaborative, classical Christian education where your child can authentically live out their faith and thrive academically and spiritually. Find out more at www.gda.academy. Thanks for listening.